It's Alex Cosper on SacTV.com with Michele, Jennae of TheIndieTimes.com.
That's correct.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming out.
Definitely. We indies got to stick together.
Right. Independent does not mean alone.
That's right. It means a community.
Absolutely.
Individuals coming together to create a better community.
Correct.
So how did you get into the indie world?
Oh, that story is a long one. I worked in corporate America for about 20 years after somewhat abandoning the artistic side of myself. And
which industry?
Sales, marketing, recruiting are the primary. So a healthy mix of different things. And I was able to work independently in a lot of ways within the companies that I worked for. But I had denied the writer in me, the musician in me, the
movie maker.
The editor. I mean, there's so many talents that I wasn't able to fully utilize in a way that was appealing. And I think that finding the artistic industry through Bill Walker, the publisher of the Indie Times, and just being introduced to that world, I thought, I'm home.
Mm-hmm. So then, did you make a quick transition to that, or was it like over time, or how did you decide to?
Some people might say it was quick. It definitely wasn't super gradual, but it also wasn't overnight. I mean, it was literally, I was still working for an advertising agency, which is somewhat creative, and trying to make my mark. And I actually had been taking some classes and then started teaching some classes in the realm of social media, and then being able to jump into teaching artists how to use it was really appealing to me. And then both Bill and I were brainstorming about the prospect of the Indie Times as a social media type platform for other people to be published in order to share their areas of expertise. And so we launched it in January of this year. I'd been doing social media.
Just a month after SacTV's debut.
That's right.
We're kind of in the same time frame, same world.
Right. And you know what? We're kicking up some dust, aren't we?
That's right.
That's right. So all of last year, I had started with my primary business, which is called Influence Sphere, which stands for Sphere of Influence, which is about connecting with people, engaging, whether it be through offline or online networking. Of course, everybody thinks social media is the end all now, but it's not. It's about meeting in person and, shaking somebody's hand, saying hello.
Kind of like I met you on Facebook, and now here we are talking.
Right. But that happens, and it happens more and more frequently. But also when you meet someone offline and then you take that online, it really goes both ways. And there's such a symbiosis to that it's no longer either or, but it's both and. And so, again, started the Indie Times, launched it in January, skyrocketed to the top 100,000 sites on Alexa within 4 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've dropped a little bit. It's hard to maintain that, but
there's always new sites coming on.
Sure. Yeah. We are always looking for more contributors. We're looking for more stories. The workload is a heavy one for me. I've got my couple of partners are off taking care of some issues right now, but I'm going strong, and it's still a good, strong website. Articles are coming in all the time, and I write articles as well. I'm the editor-in-chief is my proper title, but I also consider myself a contributor. So,
and it's all about the independent world, right?
The independent arts, and that arts not as in martial arts or as in home decorating or the crafty things, but music, film, theater, dance. Like I mentioned to you before the interview that we just. I just brought on an independent travel correspondent. My good friend Trish Morado is about to go around the world for a year, and she's going to be calling in or videoing in or sending in little podcasts about the types of people she meets, whether it be in Ethiopia or Bosnia or Spain, and she's going to see the local culture. And a lot of that local culture is independent. I mean, you see in Sacramento here, a lot of the people that you run into, they're not One Direction. They're not, these big names. They're not American Idols. They're independents that are trying to make their way and the culture is rich. It's rich here in Sacramento, just like it is halfway around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we're bringing her on as a contributor, and that's pretty exciting. And we've got quite a few contributors in the area of books. I had one lady contributing quite regularly in the area of social media, and so she would write articles specifically for artists on how to use Pinterest or Amazon.com to publish, or how to use Facebook pages. So all of this stuff that's relevant to artists in the world of managing their business. And yes, I said the B word. If you want to be more than just the garage band, it's a business.
Of course, if you want to make a living at it, and there's nothing wrong with making a living at your art. I mean,
or being a garage band for that matter, if that's all you want.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the goal, really, is to play for people, not just yourself. If you want to just play for yourself, talk to me about it, because that's what I do all the time. But anyway, I do want to play for an audience, though, at some point. So let's talk about music. How have you been involved with the music scene here?
Well, locally, I have been involved on a number of forums. The Sacramento Valley State of the Music Industry Forum, headed up by Eric Chun of Creative Music Services. I've been into American River College to talk a lot to the music business students there.
I went there for 2 years, and then Sac State 2 years.
Yeah. They've got a great music business program. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal, top-notch. So I've been in there to speak to the students. I get out to local shows when I'm able to and try to provide some video coverage or an article when I can. I'm always looking for more people that want to, after they've gone to an event, send me some, a small write-up about it. But globally, I use Twitter.
Okay.
And I love Twitter. It is absolutely phenomenal for sourcing independent musicians and artists of all types everywhere. It really just, Facebook is kind of like your front yard, and you can invite friends in to swing and play on the playground. Yeah. But Twitter, you're walking the streets of the world in 140 characters.
Okay.
And so I've met some amazing people. In fact, most of the music that I source for my radio show, which we haven't talked about yet, but and the interviews for the radio show I source through Twitter, and it's such a dynamic place that if you're not really in that world, it's hard to understand. It's like showing up at a party and not knowing anyone and kind of feeling like a wallflower. But if you can jump in and get to know a few people, and there's certain tricks in Twitter on how to get referred to other people, and the connections just start going and going and going.
So you do a seminar or a place where you do a lecture all the time on
I do. I frequently go out to the Art Institute, and currently I had mentioned to you the other day I have a Twitter one coming up next week, but that's under threat of reschedule. So there was a misunderstanding. But I do go out to the Art Institute. I've had them in other places where I provide different types of social media classes, including your Facebook page for artists. Just general networking, how to connect with people, how to engage. What are the ins and outs of it if you don't understand, how to send a handwritten thank you note, which is pretty important, and most people don't do it. And then again, there's people where you'd never ever find their home address anymore. So if you don't have your home address out there, you're not going to get a card from me.
Well, how about your radio show? It's on hotmix106.com.
It is.
Run by Corey Marcus.
That's right. The great Corey Marcus, our hot mixtress, and we call her Goddess. She's phenomenal. I started the show in May, and I can't believe here it is. We're already in the middle of August, and I love doing my show. I do it twice a week. It started out as an hour-long show. It's now 90 minutes twice a week, and I still feel like I don't have a lot of time. But being the producer of the show, the engineer of the show, the organizer, everything, I pull up my laptop generally, and that's where I broadcast from. But I'm sourcing the music. I'm doing the interviews, editing the audio, loading the tracks. I'm live on the air every single time. So, and a lot of it's ad-lib. I just kind of go with the flow. And I kind of have a rough guideline of things that I want to say, but it's just really fun connecting with people.
Kind of free form.
It's very free form. I don't take a lot of requests because the music I source is indie, so it's not like I can play Limelight by Rush, although I have it if you want to hear it. But, there's a lot of music that I don't have access to, And so if you've heard it on my show and you want to get, you want me to play it again, certainly I can. There's one right now that's called We Were Young by My Mathematical Mind, indie group out of Ontario, Canada. That's my anthem. It's just a phenomenal song. It's kind of electro pop. And I source a lot of different kinds of music, so it's not just pop. I source blues, and we play a little bit of hip hop. It's a pretty clean show, but it gets a little, edgy sometimes.
So it's pretty eclectic.
It's very eclectic. Yeah. Yes.
Eclectic indie music, and I know that the station pays BMI and ASCAP, so
we do.
It's not one of those pirate stations.
No, we are a reporting station, and I really take that seriously. In fact, I wrote an article about Sound Exchange because a lot of artists don't know about Sound Exchange, in the fact that if you're a performing artist, ASCAP and BMI doesn't cover you. You were grandfathered out of that, basically, and so you must be with Sound Exchange to be able to collect rights as a performer.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm all about the artist's rights, and I tell my audience, if you like what you hear on my show, buy a track. Go like their Facebook page. Tell them you heard about them on the Michele Jennae Show. Let them know that something about what we're doing is working. Because with digital distribution, with the access to free music, it's hard sometimes to sell, how many tracks do you need to sell at 99 cents a piece to make a living?
Right.
A lot.
Yeah.
And so while the onus is on the artist to make that work through the engagement they have with their fans, whether it be at a live show or through social media or through their email contact list, it's also the responsibility for us as listeners to appreciate it with, a cold hard dollar, and then to tell other people what we're listening to. And so I really enjoy doing that through my show. It's such an honor to me when I hear that so-and-so bought this track, or so-and-so downloaded this book from Amazon because I had the author on, and it's happened, and it's just really gratifying.
So we're going to wrap it up. When can people hear your show?
They can hear me on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings from 9 to 10:30 in the morning on www.hotmix106.com, or grab your smartphone and get the TuneIn app. It's a free app. I like to monitor the show with my phone. You can join us in the Facebook chat room. We have live interactive chat, and I tweet and chat and everything else engineering-wise during the show. But it's a fun time. Hotmix106.com every Tuesday and Thursday morning. We start at 9 a.m., go for 90 minutes, and there's something I was forgetting.
Well, we can talk about it on the next segment, because we're actually going to do some more segments. We're actually going to, broadcast this some other time. And, there's plenty more to talk about.
It's Pacific time. I have to remember.
Okay. All right.
Pacific time.
But as I'm saying, there's plenty more
Yeah.
I'd love to talk with you about. We'll do more interviews. In fact, you want to interview me on for your site,
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
IndieTimes.com. So check out the IndieTimes.com, and we'll have more interviews with Michele Jennae coming up on SACTV.com.
Thank you.